Good mor- Good morning, everyone. And can we pick up where we left off yesterday? That was so funny. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. But first a welcome. Let's get this out of the way. Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, November 6th. Thank God it's Friday. This is Coffee and Headlines, our daily get together. Uh, where we exchange, oh my God, I've got to keep it together, where we exchange comments, headlines, ideas, topics, suggestions, questions about how to have an awesome time living here in Puerto Vallarta. I don't know why I'm feeling so silly today. Well, you know why if you were here yesterday. And if you weren't, I will catch you up in a second. This is our daily get together live on Facebook every single day. And we always welcome new friends into the cluster. We always love to see new people that join us on a daily basis. If you are new to these broadcasts, please let us know. Woof, I'm back. Please let us know by writing the word "new" in your comments and suggestions. In your comments, just write the word "new." And if you have important questions, just write the letter Q. Now, previously on Coffee and Headlines, I mean, yesterday I just laughed so hard after the show was over, and then this morning again reading your comments. But right after the show was over yesterday, of course, I got on the chat phone with my dear friend Logan, who I will interview. Somebody said Logan should. Oh my God! Before we move any further, Michael, you have to stay glued to the screen because, believe it or not, today's show is all about you and it has nothing to do with your restaurants. I went out digging some dirt. Back to the story. Yesterday, I got on the chat phone with Logan. And it's like, Logan, we fucked up. We were supposed to go to this cannabis convention. And then I was looking at the website to see if it actually took place. And the website didn't indicate anything, but then I went to their Facebook page, which I foolishly never liked, so I never got their notices. They had it. They had it. They had food tastings. They had medical doctors giving expert opinion. They had a 420 twerking workshop. I mean, can you imagine this gordito in a 420 twerking workshop? I mean, darn. We missed it. We missed it. And of course, that was my foot in my mouth, and those were your pies on my face, and I loved it. I deserved it. And as long as I stuck my foot in the mouth yesterday, I might as well do it again because a good friend, Michael Buford, didn't even notice, but he changed my life, and he made me realize that my foot has been stuck in my mouth. But I'm going to leave that till the end. So that you guys are like, ooh, what is he talking about? Anyhow, we have news today. We have important news. We have silly news. We have radio, internet radio in your home. You guys were talking about this a few days ago, and you expressed interest in learning more about how to play internet radio in your home. So I'm going to leave that at the end because I'm amazed that so many of you express interest in this. There's a little bit of disbelief, but that's okay. I will put it at the end so that if you guys want to get going with your day with other things, we will be able to do so. So let me very quickly take a look at your first batch of comments just to see if there's anything wonderful we can fetch from there, and then we move on to the news. Everybody's here. It is wonderful. Hello from Chicago, Glee, and Playa Los Muertos is in the house. My cousin Norma is in the house. Mwah! And my little Padawan is here. Michael, um, should we go public with this? No, no, no. Let's keep it between you and I. Let us just create some mystery there. Why not? Let's see. Let's see. Yes, thank God it's Friday, Linda, and the weather is better than yesterday, and it is all just wonderful. Let's see what else. Let's see what else. There you go. Another remark about the weather. This is wonderful to hear. Good morning from my new home in Versalles. Bravo, bravo, Mark. Welcome to the neighborhood. Coolness, coolness. Tapia, I'm still curious to learn how you guys did with your purchase of a piece of land here in Puerto Vallarta. I'm not being nosy, but I sure hope that you got what you were looking for and that things are okay at your end. Let's see. Marcus followed my advice with the FYI Magnum bottles of red wine from Costco, and I'm running out. I think I need to do another run, so maybe I'll see you there while we're shopping. Uh, what else? What else? Michael asks, should I be worried? Not at all. I'm going to be the nicest person I can be. uh, uh, Paco twerking. No, 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 no. There's no, no, no. We're not going to twerk. And Logan says, in our defense, the last 2 weeks have been very distracting. Well, Logan and I are heading out to the to Moro Paraíso this weekend again to give some money for the horses. As you know, Logan has been wonderfully and beautifully raising money to feed a group of horses that are part of the horse co-op in El Jorullo that offer wonderful horseback riding experiences in a way that is very different from some of the more commercial providers. The commercial providers have these big operations, whereas when you go horseback riding in El Jorullo, you're dealing with the real people, you're dealing with people that live there, and you're going to places that are not really explored by the big commercial enterprises. So I will leave a link for this pursuit at the end of the show so that you can learn more about it. My sister says that I'm being very silly. Te quiero y te extraño. Of course I'm being silly. Why not? It's Friday. Anyhow, good. Good. Tapia, who's buying a piece of land in town, is moving forward with his investment. Good for you. Anyhow, let's dive into the news so that we can get to the fun stuff afterwards. Well, we have much to learn as a culture here in Puerto Vallarta about respecting cyclists. As we know, the new bicycle lanes are being built and are being put in the right place, and the cyclist community is totally ecstatic. But then, of course, Vallartenses, as we are, we see an empty space and we decide to crawl right through it. There were some photos displayed yesterday in the paper of drivers trying to take advantage of the traffic and sliding into the bicycle lanes. Of course, the city is now addressing this in a very Vallartense way. They're putting posts and orange tape all over the street. Hopefully, they will find other more permanent ways, maybe those little bumps that we see in larger cities, so that the bicycle lanes are truly taken seriously. Luna, come on up here. Come on. Luna is just arriving on her perch. She's here to supervise that everything's okay. Of course, she knows that today we're going to reveal some very funny and embarrassing things, right, girl? Now, just sit down. Sit down. Don't be confused. Yes, we made brownies this morning, but that's no reason for you to be confused. Anyhow, let me go back to what we're supposed to be doing here. So that's the news about the bicycle lanes. Sad news in Jalisco. For the third time, our state saw 50 deaths on a single day. This has happened 3 times since the beginning of the pandemic. Again, we are in the middle of the emergency button maneuver. We'll have to wait and see what the numbers look like when we get closer to that date. Moving on, the El Buen Fin promotion has taken a controversial and slightly awkward turn here in Puerto Vallarta because local members of the store owners or the business owners in Puerto Vallarta went and had the local press conference in which they praised the fact that El Buen Fin is going to be an increasingly online experience. But of course, they also said, well, the reality of many shops here in Puerto Vallarta is that they don't have an online presence. So in the most politically correct way possible, the organizers of El Buen Fin here in Puerto Vallarta encouraged people to actually go to physical stores and spend money at the physical stores instead of online because, of course, they're trying to look after the local economy. But going to stores is precisely what El Buen Fin this year is trying to avoid. So, of course, we are going to and we can exercise our own common sense. If we walk into a store and we see that it's crowded with people, we need to decide whether we want to go in or not, because of course we know that crowded spaces are probably not the best place to be. Um, excuse me. This is breaking news. Apparently, a piece of land in Higuera Blanca near Punta de Mita, or right in Punta de Mita, was seized by the prosecutor's office in the state of Nayarit. And this corresponds to a piece of land that is owned by the development Imanta, not a small project. And we don't know exactly why this piece of land has been taken away from the developer or what is going on, but we will certainly be taking a look at this piece of news as it unfolds. I'll keep you posted on that one. This is good news for Mexico. There's a new law called the Olympia Law, which has been passed in our country, in which the law establishes specific fines and periods of incarceration for anybody that tries to intimidate a partner by sharing intimate photography or intimate videos and so forth and so on. This is an important law in Mexico, and it is good to know that if you're sharing your camera with your loved one and your loved one has a change of heart and things go south, it won't be so easy for your loved one to create a scandal. And speaking of scandals, the former ex-army chief from Mexico that is being tried in New York, I believe, for money laundering and working with the drug cartels has pleaded not guilty. And of course, we are going to have to see exactly what this means. From what I would think, it will mean that his court date is going to take quite some time. And we're going to keep an eye on this as we move forward. Interjet, who is having a bad week, went from Guatemala to Guatepeor. Let me explain that to you. If you say, I'm feeling fine, in English, you say, me siento bien. In Spanish, the opposite of feeling fine, which would be I feel well, is me siento mal. In English, you don't really say that you're feeling bad unless you're feeling regretful. You say you're feeling not well. So in Spanish, we have this expression that that catches on to the fact that Guatemala is called Guatemala. So Guatemala means that you're doing not so good, and Guatepeor means that you're doing worse than you were before. And I think I explained that well. If not, we'll bring it back on Sunday Funday. Anyhow, just as if things couldn't get worse for Interjet, now Aeropuertos y Servicios Auxiliares, which is the company that gives support to planes and airports throughout the country, they are suing Interjet for a large amount of money. I don't have it in front of me, but again, it's too bad that things are just not going well for Interjet. We'll have to see exactly how that story unfolds as well. And because we're done with our formal bits of news, let me take a quick look at your questions just to see what is going on. Well, that's my point exactly, Sean. That's why I missed the 420 convention. I mean, who looks at a calendar anymore? My point exactly. Let's see. My sister asks, what did I put in the brownies? Well, how can I answer that question? I just don't know. Pura inspiración, my dear sister. Just a lot of inspiration. Let's see. Any other questions? Do you know if Olas Altas Saturday Market is opening tomorrow? Actually, I don't know, Linda, but I am sure that the answer is right on their Facebook page. Paula asks, do you know of any links to live webcams for any areas of PB Peach Old Town, etc. I do not, but I believe there's a very popular one at right on the beach, and the name escapes me, and I hope the community will help me out on that one. Pam 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 pam. Let's see. The webcams are. Oh, thank you very much for that, Pat. Guatemala to Guatepeor, yes, from bad to worse. You explained it much better than I did, Jorge. Muchas gracias. Cuates y Cuetes, thank you. Cuates y Cuetes is where that webcam is. Uh, Thank you very much for the link, Ray. See, you guys are so freaking awesome because you're helpful to one another, and this is lovely. And I love it. I love it. It's Cuates y Cuetes, and then Jill says, Cuentes, cuentes y cuantas. I love it. Cuates y Cuetes, my dear friends. Cuates y Cuetes. Anyhow, let's move on to the weather and some fun stuff. Where is my weather? Here it is, carrot weather. The weather continues to improve, and that makes us very happy. Actually, it's the same weather than yesterday, and humidity is a little bit higher. 27 degrees right now, feels like 28 Fahrenheit. It's 80 degrees, and there's no chance of rain, and I don't think we're going to see much chance of rain moving forward. Today, we can expect a little bit of humidity during the day. Tomorrow, humid and partly cloudy, and Sunday, humid throughout the day. Cool. So now, let me tell you a little story of how we come up with these preconceptions about things, and then we're foolish. I've been foolish about something, and I didn't realize I've been foolish about it all my life, or at least in the last few years. And then Michael before just like poof changed everything for me. And the story goes like this. So last week, someday, or maybe it was early this week, as you know, we don't remember the days, we don't remember the dates. But Michael, early in the morning, said to me someday, I'm going for tortas. Do you want one? And tortas, tortas, those things we eat, which is kind of like a small baguette, and we fill it with meat. We've talked about tortas here before, I hope, I'm sure. Anyhow, Michael says, do you want me to bring you one to your house? I know that Michael lives nearby, and that was a very kind gesture. But I was not particularly hungry, so I said, no, don't worry. But then he insisted, as a good friend that he is. And then I asked him, well, where are you getting your tortas from? And he says to me, oh, I'm going to the tortas ahogadas place. And of course, when he says that to me, I just sort of, he doesn't know this, but I went like, ugh, because I have this foolish chip that has been programmed in my mind that has to do with soggy bread, and I'll explain myself in a second. For me, if somebody makes you a sandwich and it has tomato in it, and all of a sudden the tomato has made the bread wet, I just don't like it. I mean, the thought of it makes me ugh, ugh. Of course, I love my hotcakes, and that's soggy bread, and I love my French toasts, and that's soggy bread too. So anyhow, one of the most emblematic things you can eat in the state of Jalisco, definitely without a doubt in the city of Guadalajara, the capital city, and in certain very special places here in Puerto Vallarta, is tortas ahogadas, which literally means swimming or drowning tortas. And that's the way they are served in the state of Jalisco. You get this sandwich, and they put it in broth, and it's brought to your table, and that's how you eat it. So anyhow, all these years that I've lived here, 19 years, I've resisted tortas ahogadas because the thought of them make me go, ugh. So I couldn't say no to Michael, and Michael, of course, goes shopping for the tortas ahogadas, and he brings one home for me to enjoy, and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I bring this thing up into my apartment, and I'm thinking, okay, so there's a torta, and it comes with one container that has broth and another container that has other chingaderas. And I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to eat this? So I made my best theory of how to eat it. I didn't Google it, and I just took this the water, the broth in a bowl, and I took the torta, which is just bread sliced, and it has pork meat inside of it, and I just dunked it in the water, and I was getting ready to go, when all of a sudden I tried it, And it was the most heavenly, sublime, delicious thing I've ever had. And that's where my entire universe just went, puh. And I realized, Paco, you've been a fool. All these years, you have refused the opportunity to enjoy something that is absolutely delicious. And I figured, okay, well, this is how I ate it. But that may not necessarily be how it's done. And that's how I discovered gay sex when I was a teenager, by the way. It's like that was how I learned to do it, but I had to go to the books to figure out if I was screwing properly or if I was screwing like a gay man should screw. But that's a different story altogether. Back to the tortas. I figured, okay, so I must go to this place and sit down and order one of these things just to see how other people around me eat them. So that's exactly what I did. Yesterday, after coffee and headlines, I went to the tortas ahogadas place. It's called Tony, and it's very well known in Puerto Vallarta. And everybody goes there, and I walk past it and it's always full, and I figured, ew, disgusting. But I did. I went in there and I sat down and I decided I'm going to order one of these things. And the place, it was very open and well ventilated, and everybody was wearing face masks, and it works in such a way that they have a stand outside, but you sit down inside. So I sat there, and the first thing that came to me is accessories. There is that spicy thing with onion that was that I brought into my house. So anyhow, then came the torta, and lo and behold, it was this Duncan thing. And now I know that the torta is made with a special bread called birote, which is crustier than a regular bolillo, so it does not get soggy and it does not get wet. And then, of course, I took a look at how everybody else ate it, and I tell you, my intuition was just right. And then, of course, I went online and researched, and lo and behold, you're supposed to grab it with these two fingers, and it's a very messy affair because of all the liquid dripping and so forth and so on. And you dunk, and it actually doesn't get soggy because the bread is thick on the crust. And it was absolutely delicious. And now, of course, I've been wronged, and I will eat these things so frequently, I'm going to get even chubbier. And that's the end of my tortas ahogadas story. And of course, Jules asked, what cross streets? Well, let me tell you, Jules, the first thing that I did when I came home is I updated Versailles for Foodies. And of course, I added the address for this wonderful place to it. And I think everybody should experience a torta ahogada. And to my dear friend Michael Buford, I say, Michael, muchas gracias. Thank you. You inadvertently set me free as far as tortas ahogadas are concerned. Moving right along, actually, before I move right along, let me take a quick look at your comments, and then I have one other bit of news, a funny pornographic anecdote about Puerto Vallarta, and then we move to internet radios. Let's see. Soggy bread has made me gag since I was a kid. Well, you see, that's what I used to say to myself, Marie, but watch me go to pancake breakfast and just gloriously dive into my pancakes, So now I'm a changed person. I am a changed person as far as that is concerned. Yeah, like tres leches. Tres leches cake is a very traditional cake here in Mexico that is just soggy, but it is heavenly. I've never refused soggy bread in tres leches cake. I mean, it's just heavenly. So anyhow, let's see, what else are you saying? Here in Chicago, we have a beef sandwich, and people like to have the sandwich dipped in the beef juice. There you go. And the bread looks awesome. Yes, it is absolutely wonderful. Oh, Michael. Mwah! You are so funny. Anyhow, I have an anecdote, a dirty anecdote to share with you, because this happened just this week in the state of Chiapas. The state of Chiapas is having a hissy fit because in the state of Chiapas, actually, let me explain this first. The state of Chiapas has this beautiful landmark called Cañón del Sumidero, and it's like a canyon, a beautiful place from what I hear, and you can go water rafting there, and I hear it's absolutely beautiful and wonderful. Well, the state of Chiapas is having a hissy fit because a porn movie crew, came to the state and put together a porno video that was filmed at this beautiful state park. And now all the folks in the tourism promotional engine of the state are having a hissy fit because, how dare this company transgress the legality, the morals, and the good habits of the park at National Cañón del Sumidero Park. So they're ruffled. Their feathers are definitely ruffled. Well, guess what? This happened to Puerto Vallarta like almost 3 decades ago, and I'm going to tell you this story because it is actually quite funny. Now, I was not here when this happened, but there is such a thing, and I'm going to give you the link to the porno movie if you want to watch it. You don't have to tell me that you did or you didn't. You're going to click in your own home. It was called Puerto Vallarta Madness, and the story went like this. This is how they told me the story. So whether this was the actual facts or not, I'm not entirely sure because this happened before I arrived in Puerto Vallarta. And Michael asks, porn tourism? And Paco answers, absolutely. Between 2 and 3 decades ago, there was this movie-making company that made a lot of noise about the fact that they were coming to Puerto Vallarta and making a movie. And of course, Puerto Vallarta, 30 years ago, there was no COVID, there was no social media, there was no nothing. So of course, the city was absolutely delighted about the fact that we were going to have a movie filmed here. And the municipality put everything forth to make themselves available. The policemen were walking down the Malecon and they were being filmed, and all the sites and so forth and so on. And there was a specific real estate person who had a real estate agency, and I don't even know if he's still in business anymore, was the big promoter of this enterprise, and they even used his office as part of the filming. And of course, everybody could see what they were filming all over the city, and the city was delighted. But of course, nobody could see what was being filmed behind closed doors. So imagine the surprise, everybody's surprise, when Puerto Vallarta Madness came out, and even there were some porno scenes that were filmed in the real estate's person, an agent's office. So the whole city was punked into thinking that this major production was going to be promoting Puerto Vallarta. Well, it certainly promoted Puerto Vallarta, but it promoted Puerto Vallarta in all fours, I suppose. And that's the story of how Puerto Vallarta beat Chiapas as it relates to porno tourism promotion. The end. And I think that deserves one of these. Yay. So I'm going to share the link of this beautiful piece of cinema as part of the show notes today, in case you want to go into Pornhub on your own time, space, and computer. Let me take a quick look at your comments. And I see a comment from Heather, which makes me very happy because Heather was here when this happened, if I recall. This is not about the Puerto Vallarta. This is about the Chiapas thing. No. Well, interesting. I guess we're going to have to keep looking at this bit of news just to see what that is about. And of course, we are now pretty much close to the end of our broadcast, unless you want to stick around. For those of you that requested a quick look at the whole thing of internet radio and how you can enjoy internet radio in your own home. And let me get myself in internet radio mode. And I'm going to do that by clicking here. Bam! There you go. I look slightly different, I know, but this is what we're going to do to navigate today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can enjoy internet radio right in the comfort of your home. And we're going to do that first and foremost by taking a look at the um, what are the paid services that are available. We're going to take a look at internet radio, what it is. Then we're going to do a breakdown of what the paid services are. And then we're going to take a look at a couple of internet radio apps that you may want to consider. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at internet radios themselves. So let's take a look at the pros or the advantages of going with a paid service. Well, you get an extensive music catalog. For example, Apple Music claims that they have 60 million songs. Spotify claims that they have 50 million songs available. Not that we have time to listen to all these songs. And then, of course, there are multiple devices. In most cases, all these paid services have an application for your Mac, for your PC, for your iOS device, or your Android device. Not to mention the fact that you can go into any web browser and take a look and listen to their catalogs. Another advantage is that they feature channels with specific genres and moods. For example, this is a screenshot of my Spotify account where, as you can see, I can choose from either specific music genres like cumbia or metal or rock and many others, or I can choose moods like, music for romance, music for focusing, or for cooking and dining. So there are all kinds of choices that you can get when you get a paid service. Another advantage is that you can download music to your portable devices. Say you're going to spend the whole week in Maito and you know that the internet connection is not very good there. Well, you can actually download music to your devices and you can listen to it while you are disconnected from the internet. That's similar to what you can do with Netflix, for example. Netflix also allows you to download certain movies, which I do frequently if I'm going to places like San Sebastian. These paid services are smart, just like Netflix and YouTube are smart. They send you content suggestions based on what you've been looking at. For example, this is what my Amazon Music account recommended to me yesterday based on what I have been listening to lately. And this is awesome if you're actually curious about your music, because it invites, oh, get out of the way, little face. It invites you to actually learn more about the music, as opposed to when you just have music playing in the background. You don't care who the performers are, but the music sounds good, and that's okay too. And of course, in most cases, you can get to enjoy the paid services for free with commercials, but once you actually pay, you don't have any commercials in the broadcasts. Now, we're talking about internet at home, but of course, a lot of these services are ideal for businesses. Let's say you have a restaurant and you want to have like mellow music in the morning while you're serving coffee and something more lively around lunchtime and so forth and so on. Well, these services are perfect for businesses as well. Now, what is the disadvantage of paid services? Well, there's essentially one. If you have to pay money for them. And of course, if you don't have good internet, you won't be able to enjoy these services. But, if your internet is good enough that you can watch Netflix or watch YouTube videos, chances are you can enjoy a paid service that only offers music if you care to pay for the monthly fee. Now, then there's internet radio, of course, but let's start with what is it? Internet radio is essentially digital audio that is transmitted via the internet. It is usually a continuous stream. It's not like an on-demand service. For example, in Netflix, you can stop your movie and go take a shower and come back and your movie restarts. These are continuous streams of audio, just like regular radio. There are many genres available, from talk shows to sports radio to music. And many internet radio stations are associated with their corresponding traditional radio stations. That means that the local AM radio station might actually have an internet feed that you can tune into, and I'll get into that in a second. What are the advantages of internet radio? Well, there are thousands of stations. Currently, the website internetradio.com is listing 23,343 stations. Many of these broadcast on a 24-hour basis. Some of them only broadcast during specific hours, but there's a ton of radio to choose from. You can also enjoy internet radio in multiple devices. You can listen to them, the stations on your computer or your portable device. Some stations, some of the big ones, even have their own app that you can use to exclusively listen to that station, while there are other websites that function as big radio directories which make you choose. But another advantage of internet radio, as I was saying before, is that you can access local radio stations. If you try tuning into the local AM radio station and it's on a regular radio, it may sound staticky, it may sound noisy, but if you tune into the same station through their internet radio feed, it will more often than not sound much better. This goes both for AM or FM radio. Now, another thing that we need to talk about is the actual physical radios. There are internet radios, and we're going to talk a little bit about these in a moment. These are not your typical AM/FM radios. These have their own internet antennas, and they can, of course, tune in to the internet as long as they're connected to the internet through Wi-Fi, and some of them you can actually have a dedicated wire connection to the internet. This, of course, means that if you're sitting out in the park and you whip out your portable internet radio, you won't be able to listen to anything because you need to be connected to the internet. Now, tuning an internet radio can be tricky because there are thousands of radio stations to navigate through. It's not like tuning a regular radio, but you have computer and app control for most internet radios that you buy. Now, what are the disadvantages of internet radio? There are several. For starters, the audio quality can vary from station to station. That means that some stations may choose to stream their music at a higher quality so that you get real hi-fi sound. And other stations, particularly those that only deal with talk radio, will probably broadcast at a lower rate so that the quality of the sound is not as relevant because all you're listening to is people talking. Now, audio quality can also vary from radio to radio, and that makes sense. If you have a tiny little pocket radio with a tiny speaker, it's not going to sound as full and wonderful as a larger physical radio with larger speakers. But of course, all these units have headphone control, so you can always enjoy your internet radio with a good pair of headphones. Internet radios, the physical radios, can be challenging and cumbersome to program the first time. You have to connect them to your own internet connection, and then you have to program your favorite stations. Many of them have many memory banks, so you can put your favorite stations in them. But once you do this, you are clear. You are ready to enjoy your internet radio. Now, very quickly, let's take a look at some of the paid services that are available out there. The biggest one, or the most popular, being Spotify, which is a Swedish company. It can be enjoyed with commercials, but if you buy Spotify for a monthly fee, you can enjoy all kinds of music without commercials. And the beautiful thing about Spotify is that here in Puerto Vallarta, you can buy prepaid cards just about anywhere, in any convenience store or supermarket. And these make great gifts, by the way. So if you don't have internet, or if you don't have a Spotify account, or you don't want to use your credit card, you can buy prepaid cards for these. Sirius is another big company. It started as a satellite radio company, so you had to be within their reach to be able to actually point an antenna. But now they offer internet radio as well. Then there is Pandora, which is one of the first services to offer specific personal recommendations, which have become so ubiquitous. We don't think about this, but Pandora was the first satellite or internet radio to let you know what they recommended based on your listening history. Then there's, of course, Apple Music, the very big one. They have the largest catalog, and Apple Music makes a lot of sense for people that are already part of the Apple universe, whether you have an iPod or an iPad or an iPhone, and of course, an Apple computer. Amazon Music now also is in the game. They launched in 2007 in the US, and they finally arrived in Mexico in 2018. And their catalog is not as large, but I like Amazon Music because I shop on Amazon Mexico quite frequently. So I have an Amazon Prime account. So my Amazon Prime gives me better shipping deals on Amazon. They give me all kinds of television shows that I enjoy through Amazon Prime. And of course, Amazon Music comes bundled with the package. So that is the one reason why I have Amazon Prime in the house. Now, Calm Radio is a bit of a boutique case. It is a very specific provider because they focus on a large collection of relaxation music to enjoy better sleep and improve focus and reduced stress. They have about 500 plus music channels of high quality audio. It can be enjoyed for free, but they are absolutely obnoxious in the amount of commercial breaks that they have, trying to encourage you to go for a paid subscription. So that can be a little bit of an annoyance. But if calm music is your thing, you want to have it for your spa, you want to have it at home, this might be something that you want to invest in. Now, how do you listen to this? There are a number of internet radio apps. I'm going to talk only about one, which is Media U. And that is because Media U is a large internet radio portal. You can access it online, and they have an application for iOS devices. They have an application for Android devices. The interface supports 25 different languages, and the beautiful thing about it is that some actual physical radios connect to it in such a way that if you are looking at the stations that you enjoy and listening to them on your computer and you have your account all set up, the stations that you have selected as your favorites will automatically show up in your iOS device or your Android device and your physical radio as well. So you only upload and update your favorites in one single place. And then last but not least, there are the actual radios that you can buy. These are not your typical AM radios or FM radios. And this, of course, brings us to the question as to why we would want a physical radio. Well, I play games on my iPad and I do work on my iPad. I get calls on my iPhone. So I do want to have a dedicated device that I can have at home so that I can listen to radio just on my own. What can you get? Well, there are tabletop radios. These units are, of course, very popular in Europe, much more so than in the United States or America, for that matter. Table radios, such as this Ocean Digital, offer a better quality of sound. And notice that the display allows you to learn information about the station and what is actually playing, etc., etc. Then there are portable radios, such as the Sangen unit. This is something that you can just put batteries on and bring it with you on your travels and your troubles. But again, as I mentioned before, it's not like you can sit in the middle of nowhere and turn it on and expect sound to come out of it. If you don't have a connection from the radio to an internet provider, whether it is your phone or your internet at home, you will not be able to enjoy it. Then there are receivers like this one. This one doesn't have any sound, it doesn't even have speakers. These kinds of receivers are designed to integrate with your hi-fi system at home. That said, every radio has either a headphone output or a line out output such that you can easily connect it to your stereo. It's just that these more stereo-like devices just go attached to your stereo system. And this is a smaller version of the same thing. It's a small unit that is made by Ocean Digital. Again, it's designed for you to connect it to your stereo system at home. So this is not something that you would bring with you. And this, my friends, is in a nutshell my whole presentation of how you can enjoy internet radio at home. Let me switch over to my other view. And there we have it. I think we're done with this. Yes, we are. So let me take a look to see if you have any questions or comments. I forgot to bring my internet radio from the bedroom, but I have a small one. I love it. It's a fairly recent acquisition, but I like it very much. Let me see if you have any questions, but not before I thank the 90 of you that are still around. It's nice to see that so many people are interested in how you can enjoy music at home. I'm going to see if there are any specific questions about this. I see a lot of happy weekends and people that have left. No worries. Da, 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 da. Brian says thanks for the information. Michael says Terabyte and the Battery Eaters are on Spotify. Love it. Um, Apple's octopus puts another tentacle in your pocket. Absolutely. John likes iHeartRadio. I like iHeartRadio as well. Excessive commercials are not calming. Absolutely agree. There's a notable exception for me. I love listening to Classic FM. It's a station from England. And the reason I like it is because the commentators are very soothing and they also complement information about the pieces that they play. And I love that very much. Jonathan listens to internet radio through TuneIn. TuneIn is a great application for iOS. I love it very much. Let's see. Earl thinks that was a great internet radio segment. I love you, baby. Much love from Puerto Vallarta. I love internet radio now because it takes me out of my rut of listening to the things that I always listen to, and it really opens my ears to new music. So I'm very happy to see that some of you have found this informative. And this brings me to the end of the show. As always, I'm grateful for your company. I'm grateful to see you here. And I'm grateful to help make connections between all of us and our destination. Between today and the next day that we get together, please stay kind and please stay wonderful and please stay listening to a lot of music in your own time. I'll be bringing you more information about music in the future. And look outside. Everything looks bluer today than it looked yesterday. And I mean the skies and I mean otherwise. Have a great day and I'll see you soon.